What is up, all my fellow gamers? What a weekend it was for us. We had the Summer Game Fest Friday night, followed by the Developers Direct. And then this Sunday afternoon, we had a fantastic Xbox showcase, which concluded with 25 minutes of Black Ops 6. And I know that's what we're all here for, so let's get right into it. We got a ton of information. Alright, so jumping right into it, we have Campaign. Campaign did take up a decent little chunk of the segment, and I am super pumped to share what they gave us. So we know that the setting is going to be the early 90s. They claim that it's going to build on real history. So the Soviet Union was in shambles after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the end of the Cold War. The US was left as the only remaining superpower. Gulf War news is now on the rise, and the government has lost all trust. The campaign was quoted from the developers as a high-octane spy thriller where you're never sure who to trust and what's real. And judging what we saw, I would agree it is some Jason Bourne level stuff, but in a good way. So, here's what we know. Frank Woods will be one of our lead men with his protege, likely you, Troy Marshall, who was described as a reluctant leader driven by a strong moral compass, and he has also been making quite the name for himself and is known to have the ability to make tough calls in the field. Woods and Marshall will be working with a third party and someone who will be our second new entry into the Black Ops series, Jane Harrow, a CIA handler. Jane is described as a born leader, fearless and brilliant. She helps manage relationships within the agency. So we already have some iconic characters as well as two new characters. So off to a good start so far, in my opinion. And so the overall arching narrative is that an operation is going to go wrong. Woods and Marshall are going to wind up suspended, and they must go rogue. Due to that fact, they're going to need to rebuild an entire team from the ground up, which also will see them bring in two more new entries into the series, tech whiz Felix Newman and assassin Savadi Dumas. So again, loving here what we got. We got some icons as well as a bunch of new guys and girls to get maybe on board and into. And, overall, a good character is going to sell some skins, right? And that's what they want to do. So hopefully there's a lot of depth and some good character arcs for a lot of these new people. We also will see the return of Russell Adler, who has reportedly been missing for months. This campaign sounds really cool. It sounds like a little bit what they tried to do with Modern Warfare 3 last year with like the open combat style. It just didn't really work. But they sounds like they really have built and expanded upon this a lot. They supposedly have prioritized mission variety and unique experiences with a wide variety of handcrafted mission types that will take players all over the world, from casino heists to storming palaces. I think in theory this sounds great, as long as it's not too messy. If everything is cohesive and makes sense, I'm really excited to see the different regions that we're going to explore, right? You will have the freedom to navigate the missions as you see fit, how you would like to play them, whether that's, all out, loud and proud, or stealthy, as there will be different combat styles. And they even threw in some conversation opportunities where you can talk to someone and you have different trees in a way, right, where you can barter or manipulate your way through different scenarios. And I think that's really cool as well because it'll offer some replayability, right? And Call of Duty campaigns aren't really known for having a ton of replayability. So it's really nice to see them try to maybe innovate on that a little bit and give you a reason to want to come back to campaign. Certain missions will give you a high level objective, and it'll give you a wide variety of ways to approach it. Again, talking about replayability. They really talked about enemy variety and some enhanced AI, where enemies will constantly seek to maybe outmaneuver you or cut you off, try to just flat out overwhelm you. And that's pretty interesting. Usually when you get up into higher difficulties of campaign, that's when you see like enhanced or smarter AI. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how they implement that throughout all the difficulty levels that they're going to assume that they're going to offer, right? You're going to see some really cool stuff that you're used to seeing, like RCXDs, as well as some other familiar things that you guys have seen over the years. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to with campaign that they talked a bit about was that they will be bringing back the central hub area like they had in Cold War. I really enjoyed that, and I thought that that was one of the more cool and unique things that they have done in a COD campaign. So it's really nice to see that come back. It's going to be called the Safe House. Supposedly, it is located in an abandoned manor by an ocean cliffside. It was a KGB black site in the 50s and 60s, and it'll be a place that you're able to explore and potentially, words from the developers, unlock some old secrets. So I think that'll be pretty cool. That'll be pretty interesting. The evidence board, same thing that was in Cold War's Safe House, will also be returning. It's a upgraded version of it. You'll be able to view the campaign outline, deeper mission insight, and supposedly review evidence that you've collected during other operations. So again, I really love what we're doing here with campaign, and I think that it has a ton of potential to knock a lot of people's socks off. But now it is time to talk about movement, and I think a lot of you are going to like this. Alrighty, so as you saw, we are getting a brand new omnidirectional movement system which can be toggled on or off. So for the first time ever in Call of Duty, players will be able to sprint in any direction. You will also be able to chain together movement moves like sliding, diving, and we are also going to be getting a brand new full 360 degree range of motion prone system. I know a lot of you are really going to love this. So it's not a brand new system that, we've seen it in a couple of other games over the times, but being new to Call of Duty, a lot of players, want a bigger skill gap and they want tons of movement potential. And I found that this was absolutely everything that people have been asking for. And the fact that you can turn it on or off means that for more casual players, if it's not something you're interested in, if you don't think you're going to be at a big disadvantage, you can just turn it off and have the standard, pretty much what you're used to in Call of Duty, as you can see on the screen now, if it's off. And I think this is beautiful. I love that it's, like I said, toggleable, so it's an option. It's not forced. It's not something that you have to adapt to if you don't want to. And I think that is a great thing to add for players of both sides of the spectrum, right? Another thing we're going to be getting is a brand new intelligent movement system, and you're going to have assisted toggle options as well that will let you perform tasks such as sprinting, crouching, and mantling with less button inputs. I also think this is a really cool idea. It's unique. It's something that we haven't seen before, and it's going to be able to let you move around the map even faster potentially, or not necessarily faster, but again, without less button and press, less to think about. You can just move and react. And they do encourage players to play around with different combinations of the new settings to see what feels right for you. And I really like that. I think that is another interesting option to add. And again, it's not forced. It's an option. You can toggle it on or off. I think that is a great move. Again, not making people adapt if they don't want to. We're also getting new hit zones. As you can see, previously Call of Duty only had 4 hit zones, which was head, right chest, they had head, torso, lower body right, and lower body left. Black Ops 6 will now have 9 hit zone regions: head, right chest, lower torso, hip, left arm, left leg, and right leg. And player death animations will react to which regions they were shot in and have a customized animation for that death animation. I think that's awesome. It's just like little things that kind of add up and add to the experience. And another thing that they are adding, corner slicing. Again, not something that we haven't seen before in an FPS, but again, something that's new to Call of Duty and something that kind of helps make things feel fresh, right? Fresh and innovative, again, for Call of Duty. And it does kind of help you immerse in the game a little bit more, right? It feels like you're really in the action in a way. Something, again, these small details are things that add up over the course of your playtime, and they really do add to the experience, whether you really notice them or not. And again, I just love that we're just new. Everything is new right now. That's really what they wanted to do, was add to it without overdoing it. So it's little things, but they add up. And talking about even more new, we're also getting a brand new HUD feature, which is really sweet. So they advertise this a lot for streamers, but it works for everyone. So you'll be able to play around with your HUD. You don't want the mini map in the top left hand corner, you don't have to have it there. You don't want a HUD at all. If you really like how hardcore looks with no HUD, you can do that in core now. I think that that's really neat. It's super helpful for people that do stream. You know, I commonly find myself trying to figure out where I want to put my face so that it's not blocking critical information that people might want to see as well. So the ability to be able to put that information where you want and have your stream kind of not affect any of that, I think that that's a really awesome option, and I'm excited for that. And this next one, I need to let the developers themselves let you know.
Looking back through the Call of Duty and Black Ops catalog, there's a lot of love, both internally at Treyarch and that we see in our community, for how we used to handle Prestige. Traditional Prestige is back.
That was sick.
You heard the man. Classic Prestige is back. There will be 10 Prestiges on launch, with a Master Prestige offering an additional 1,000 levels. This is essentially the Black Ops 3 system, which I've been saying for years would be the perfect system to implement for today's Call of Duty with how they do the seasonal releases and whatnot. And wow. Also, there will be a unique set of rewards, you know, your standard stuff, maybe some calling cards or some weapon charms, something like that for each Prestige. However, if you make it to Master Prestige level 1000, you will get a classified reward. Looking forward to see how many of you are going to be able to grind that out and see what that thing is looking like. I'm going to try, but I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Multi is also supposedly focused on 3 core play styles. Enforcers, which sound like running gunners. Recon, which sounds like our campers, but Recon will focus on intel and counter intel. It actually looks pretty cool. And there will also be strategists, players who essentially will throw themselves at the objective or focus on taking things out like enemy equipment, enemy score streaks, things like that. And all of the equipment, gear, and weapons supposedly have been centered around the 3 play styles. So looking forward to see how they, or what they do with that in terms of how all that, you know, functions and works together. Theater mode is also back, and we will also be getting 16 all new multiplayer maps, 12 core 6v6, and 4 strike maps. However, supposedly all 4 of the strike maps can be played as 6v6 or 2v2, and the map design is back to classic 3-lane maps. Multi will also take place after you have finished the campaign in terms of the story setting and aesthetically. And also, as we just saw on screen, round-based zombies is back as well. They will be picking up the Dark Aether storyline where they left it. There will be 2 brand new maps available at launch, and we will have some fan favorite features as well as new elements to discover. And Zombies campaign, no news on Warzone, but we do know that Zombies in campaign will also have the new movement system in place, so the omnidirectional movement system as well as the assisted movement options such as the auto mantle and auto sprint, things of that nature. And in terms of wrapping this thing up here, August 28th we will get a real multiplayer reveal at the Call of Duty Next event. We know that there is an open beta, coming this fall. And I just hope that everyone is as excited for this game as I am. And let me know how you're feeling in the comments below and on social media. And as always, until next time.